My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC. Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah.
On 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me, 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Friday, May 9th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Friday's not going to be so great today. Rain on and off throughout this day. The high just 61, but then the weekend is fantastic. So Saturday, sun and clouds, high 73, and then for moms on Mother's Day, Sunday, sunshine, high 77. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 53 and raining in West Haverstraw. It's 56 and cloudy in Pennington over in New Jersey, and it's 58 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
The top 5 at 5.
Surprise, surprise, an American Pope. Wait, how much are Knicks tickets? New Jersey Transit's trying to make a deal with engineers. Cops can't find a man snatching cell phones off the streets. And how old is too old to run a 5K? All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Pope Leo. If you had Pope Leo on your bingo card, an American Pope, well, you're a very wealthy man, because I didn't see that anywhere. The Chicago native making it to Pope. Bishop Lawrence Sullivan serves the Archbishop of Chicago, and he was just as surprised as anybody to see somebody he knew, who was Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, now as Pope Leo.
While there's a sense of pride, it really is secondary to the fact that a successor of St. Peter has been elected and is now going to serve as our spiritual leader.
So the Cardinal Prevost, now Pope, was raised in right outside Chicago, elected the first ever American Pope, the naturalized citizen of Peru, recognized as Pope Leo XIV. He had served on the as the head of the bishops, which oversees the selection of bishops worldwide, but he had spent most of his adult life doing missionary work in Peru. Again, in Chicago, you can guess, no matter where you go, really, in North America, people are pretty elated.
Nobody really knows how the Holy Spirit is going to move among the cardinals in the conclave. They don't walk in with a set plan or a set agenda. It's a surprise in that sense.
Yeah, so you wonder how this all works. So did you see the movie Conclave? I think that's probably pretty accurate.
It really is a cause of great joy, great excitement. I do believe that Pope Leo XIV is going to serve with obviously great faith.
Now, it is fun to hear from all these people who knew him before he was Pope, who knew him when he was a kid. One of them, Father Pat McGrath. He's from Chicago's Old St. Patrick's Church, says Leo must have impressed his fellow cardinals during the secretive process.
He's got that global experience. I think that probably was something that made the other cardinals think, yeah, this guy gets it.
Now, Leo spent 20 years in Peru working for the church. Late Pope Francis was the one who brought Leo back to Rome back in 2023.
This guy's a global citizen. He grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, but he's spent so much time in Latin America and is, in fact, a Peruvian citizen.
Father Greg Saukaus, he heads Chicago's Holy Name Cathedral, and, of course, he knows Leo as well.
You can't deny where you're from, or it's part of who you are from the neighborhood, and that's just part of who he is.
Yeah, they say, okay, yeah, he's going to be living in Vatican City now, but he says this guy's always going to be somebody who came from Chicago, apparently was not a Sox fan, was a Cubbies fan.
You can never deny your roots. So I'm sure he has a love for Chicago, a love for the United States. That's part of his upbringing.
Pope Leo's mother was a librarian who worked at Holy Name Cathedral. His father was the principal of Mount Carmel Elementary School in Chicago Heights. So it was an exciting moment. Where were you yesterday when the white smoke rose from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel? It was 6 p.m. Vatican time. In that moment where Leo comes out of the red curtains? I mean, it is overwhelming, I have to imagine, and something that dates back just so many years. But that moment where he comes out and the crowd goes crazy, I mean, you can't be not moved by that moment. And, of course, he was incredibly moved by that moment. And there were some Americans who in the crowd who were shocked, just like the rest of us, to see that a fellow American had been picked as Pope.
The energy is palpable. The people here are just so full of love and so hopeful. And, I mean, no matter who was chosen today, I think we were just all really grateful to be here and be a part of world history.
His first words were, "Peace be with you," while appearing on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, that red velvet carpet, the red velvet curtain behind him. Boy, they know how to orchestrate this thing, right? You had the cameras, if you were watching, and they had the shot of him from his back walking out and the curtains closing, and then the reaction from the crowd. And you could see people crying, applauding. There were even some American flags. So maybe some people had bet that he was going to be the next Pope. They were waving those American flags.
To be here on the holiest week ever and to be blessed by the Pope, and you could just feel the unity amongst the people. You could feel the love. You could feel God here. It's just, I mean, overwhelming.
Yeah, you could feel the excitement in the crowd.
It's going to be something that's incredibly unifying for us as a country. It's something we probably needed.
Now, here's my favorite part. So we're going to hear from his two brothers, right, who just are probably this is the guy they, beat up and, did what you do to brothers when you grow up with them. The new Pope's two older brothers are just thrilled. They, of course, know him still as Robert of Chicago, that he's now the Holy Father.
It's totally unreal, totally surreal, and it's a tremendous, tremendous thing to take in, but it's something to be very proud of.
That's John Prevost, the middle brother of the newly elected Pope Leo. John says he recently asked his brother if he had watched the movie Conclave so that he'd know how to behave. And John says, with a chuckle, that Robert did indeed had just finished watching Conclave. So the new Pope watched Conclave and then became the Pope. How wild is that?
Shocking, surprising, exciting. I'm almost speechless. It's just mind-blowing that my brother was elected Pope.
When it's your brother, it's kind of still your brother, right? I would think. But they say, obviously incredibly exciting.
I just hope others, here and overseas, that it doesn't turn political because, he's an American, he's going to screw the church up. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
One of his older brothers, John here, says he humored his little brother in a recent conversation.
I said, did you watch the movie Conclave so you know how to behave? And he had just finished watching the movie Conclave. So he knew how to behave. So it's that kind of stuff because I wanted to take his mind off of it.
Yeah, it's great. It's all great and fun to watch. 5:07, first check of traffic and transit on this early Friday morning. Joe Nolan, you too must have been surprised to see an American Pope.
Stunned, absolutely stunned. And the fact that he went to Villanova, he's a Big East guy, so that's big.
Do you think we can get him to give a prayer to Jalen Brunson and the rest of the Knicks, since, he's a Villanova guy, and help us out?
How about the Pope graduated from Villanova? That to me is just unbelievable. I went to Seton Hall, so Seton Hall and Villanova are a lot alike. And,
yeah, of course.
And it's just, to me, it's just incredible that, here's this guy from Chicago who went to Villanova as the Pope. Unreal. And absolutely unreal.
Do you think, I sort of feel like initially I think it's going to bring, where church attendance has been really down in North America among Catholics. I think this might energize Catholics in North America because it's one of their own.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this Sunday. See if there's more people at Mass on Sunday. It'd be very interesting to see that.
Oh, well, you'll report back to us.
Yeah, well, I'll go. I was thinking of that. I was thinking, I should probably go to Mass on Sunday. So.
Yeah. Come on.
I go every so often. Even though I'm a divorced Catholic, I'm not allowed to have, get communion. Still, I still go. You can still go.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. Absolutely incredible that here's this guy who's just a little older than I am. For all I know, he was in the garden at the tournament,
Oh, that's true. And, he very well could have been. That's funny.
It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I didn't think about that. He could have been at the Big East tournament.
Yes, exactly. Went to Villanova. Another friend of mine said, well, finally a Pope that actually went to a Wawa.
WABC News Time 5:10. It's still a little of a mess at Newark Airport. Not as bad as it has been over the last 11 days. The nation's air traffic control system is about to get a makeover, which is, of course, long overdue.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is calling for a massive overhaul of our country's air traffic control system.
We're going to have new telecom, new fiber throughout the system. We're going to have brand new radios in our towers.
He also mentioned ground radar and tarmac sensors. The Transportation Secretary's mission is being driven by the April 28th incident that impacted Newark Liberty International Airspace, where screens and frequencies went dark, leaving the air traffic controllers unable to communicate with pilots for up to 90 seconds. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
President Trump believes upcoming trade talks with China will go well. He spoke before a cabinet meeting yesterday, said a deal with China would, of course, benefit the world.
We'd like to see China opened up so we can compete in China and, give people something that they've never had, access to something.
He says would love a great relationship with China. He says he does have a good relationship with President Xi. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent set to meet with Chinese counterpart in Switzerland to discuss trade over the weekend.
That'd be great for the world. It would be great for our businesses, and I think it would be great for friendship.
In the U.S., the U.K. announcing a new trade deal. President Trump made the announcement at the White House.
The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved.
The trade deal with the UK is the first to be reached since Trump unveiled his sweeping tariff plan. Trump says the U.S. is working, on trade deals with other countries. British Prime Minister spoke about the deal over the phone at the Oval Office.
So we have a big economic security blanket, and that's very important. And we feel very, very comfortable with that because it's been a great ally, truly one of our great allies. I mean, a lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people.
Now, these fears of tariffs and the ones that will be put in place, you have a lot of companies sort of looking at their future profit line and not liking what they see. Toyota, one of them, projecting a decline in profit for the current financial year.
The world's top-selling automaker released a report on Thursday, forecasting a 21% profit decline due to widespread fallout from sweeping tariffs implemented by President Trump. This comes after a year of record profit totaling $32.4 billion for the automaker. According to Toyota, the company must also navigate the negative impact from a stronger yen. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
While we're talking finances, President Trump says it's too late for the Fed to cut interest rates. Before his cabinet meeting yesterday, Trump said Fed Chair Jerome Powell chose the wrong thing yesterday.
I call him Too Late, Too Late Powell. That's his nickname, and it's a shame. It's ridiculous.
Powell has said if Trump wants to talk to him, he needs to call him, to which Trump responded, it's like talking to a wall. He went on to say that a rate cut would not make much of a difference because the U.S. economy is so strong.
Well, the Bank of England cut, China cut, everybody's cutting but him.
WABC News Time 5:13. Let's go down over to Congress from the White House. Congress has voted to permanently change the Gulf of Mexico's name to the Gulf of America. The move withstood a challenge from Democrats led by a California congressman who called it all preposterous.
This monumental disaster, this insult to the American people, and this giant middle finger to the rest of the world.
The renaming faces an uphill battle in the Senate where it will need bipartisan cooperation. The leader over there, John Thune, has been silent so far about the possibility of a floor vote. Meanwhile, the Democratic members of Congress continue to say that they say this is not good.
An ego-driven rebrand, a performative stunt. We're not just renaming a Gulf, we're drowning public trust in what this institution is supposed to do. Serve the people, solve problems, defend democracy.
Hey, did you see this yesterday? President Trump named WABC host Jeanine Pirro as interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., made the announcement in a post on Truth Social yesterday after replacing Ed Martin as his nominee earlier in the day. Ed Martin had been losing support among top Republicans in the Senate. So Pirro, who has been a longtime friend and ally of Trump, dating back to her days as a prominent prosecutor in Westchester County, now will have that gig. Now, You might say, Noam, what does that mean for her weekend show? Is she still going to do it? And I don't have an answer to that. My guess is maybe she'll take a little break as she's doing this job, but we'll find out together, I guess, when the weekend comes, whether she'll be a weekend host here at WABC. But congratulations in the meantime to Janine Pirro, now interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Happy Friday. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Happy Friday. Good morning to you, Noam Aladdin. It was a quiet night, almost a silent night locally for sports. We will look ahead, though, to baseball action for tonight and this weekend out in Queens. The Mets will get set to open up a 3-game series against the visiting Chicago Cubs. Clay Holmes is 4-1 on the year with a 2.95 ERA, so that experiment working out so far for the Mets. He'll get the start for a 7:10 p.m. first pitch. New York is 24-14 overall and 13-3 in home games. Mets hitters have a collective .420 slugging percentage to rank 7th in the MLB. Tonight's game is the first time these teams match up this season. Pete Alonso has 13 doubles, a triple, 9 home runs, and 34 RBI for the Mets this season. And Juan Soto, he's turned it on as of late, 11 for 37 with 3 doubles, 4 home runs, and 5 RBI in his last 10 games. Out west in Sacramento, the Yankees will get their 3-game set for the weekend underway against the Athletics. Will Warren, he's 1-2 on the year with a 5.65 ERA. He'll start for the Yanks in what will be a 10:05 p.m. first pitch. New York is 21-16 overall. They're 8-8 on the road. The Yankees are 4-8 in games decided by 1 run, though. The matchup tonight, I should say, is the first meeting this season between the Yanks and the A's. Aaron Judge leads the Yankees with 23 extra base hits. He's got 9 doubles, 2 triples, and 12 home runs on the year. And Trent Grisham, he's been red hot pretty much all season, but his last 10 games, he's 10 for 34 with 4 home runs and 7 RBI. And we're looking ahead to hardwood action tomorrow afternoon as well. A little matinee, if you will, on the hardwood.
3:30, right?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
That's a little strange.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I don't know. I just want my basketball games at night.
Well, is it going to be nice out tomorrow in the city?
It is. That's true. It's going to be beautiful.
Right.
So now I have to go indoors to watch a basketball game.
No, well, I mean, see, it'll be hard to come by, some of this outdoor seating. Those are going to be the hot seats. Those places that have the TVs outside and they paid for the extra outdoor seating. So if you're going to if you want to get one of those seats, I would advise probably getting out there, a good hour before tip-off. I mean, these bars are going to be jam-packed today. People are going to be running out of work, making all sorts of excuses to get out of there in time for this 3:30, or running out of work Saturday. There's no work on Saturday.
Well, some people work on Saturday.
God,
so I guess those
unbelievable.
people have to lie to
Can
get
I
out of work.
put it together? My God.
Did you see, by the way, the cheapest ticket? I went online to see how much the secondary market, how much the cheapest ticket was to a Knick game.
Yeah.
The next two, of course, $2,000.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Corey Zelnick will be there.
Do you think we can mug him when he's here today and take his 2 tickets?
You give it your best shot.
Okay.
Let me know how that goes. That's your sports gnome. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Hey, business owners, make your cash secure again with Secure Cash LLC. Transporting your business's cash safely in armored trucks. SecureCashLLC.com.
Amazing. 5:20. A new report says President Trump plans to revive a controversial idea that would lower drug prices.
According to Politico, Trump is expected to sign an executive order early next week that would direct his staff to pursue most favored nation pricing for drugs within the Medicare program. MFN pricing would ensure that Medicare gets the same low drug prices that drug makers offer to other countries. Trump announced a similar plan during his first term, but it faced strong opposition from the pharmaceutical industry. I'm Michael Kastner.
The opening ceremony for the 2028 Olympic Summer Games will be the first ever held in dual venues. Mayor Karen Bass out in Los Angeles says the opening ceremony will be shared between the state-of-the-art SoFi Stadium, that's in Englewood, and the historic LA Memorial Coliseum.
This will become the first venue in history to host events for the third Olympic Games.
Mayor says LA will host the largest games in Olympic history. There are going to be 351 medal events, 15,000 athletes. Los Angeles will also host its first ever Paralympic Games. Los Angeles has hosted the 1932, and then, of course, you might remember the 1984, but this is a big deal.
The largest Olympics ever held. Let me say that again. The largest Olympics ever held. August the 15th, 2028, the Paralympic opening ceremony will take place at the stadium in Inglewood and will herald the beginning of the largest Paralympic competition in the movement's history.
Nice. We'll have to wait, of course, till 2028. 522 on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers giving the head of Homeland Security their wish list yesterday. South Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar says the Biden administration ignored problems with Border Patrol system of security cameras, which caught illegal immigrants.
1/3 of the cameras are working, 2/3 are not working. That's not right.
Trump administration, though, is more focused on border wall. A spending bill includes cash for 700 additional miles. That cost comes out to about $46 billion. Henry Cuellar says the vast majority of the border security cameras have gone dark, and he says that needs to be fixed as well.
In my area, only 1/3 of the cameras are working. This old technology is like going to a car and you fix it, and they keep coming in to fix it up.
Yeah, so Congress, and he says, Henry Cuellar, that Congress needs to fix that, not just the border wall. Well, we're down in Texas. There's a push in the Lone Star State to put prayer back in school. Legislation would allow school districts there to vote on whether they want to set aside time to allow kids to read from the Bible or other religious texts.
The goal of the legislation is to affirm and protect religious freedom.
So it's already passed in the state Senate, where backers say it was crafted to make sure it does not impinge on anyone's religious beliefs or lack of belief.
Schools must ensure that non-consenting individuals are not exposed to the prayer or readings and may restrict the activity to designated areas or times, such as before school.
524, down back to Washington. First Lady Melania Trump says the birth of a child is a life-changing event that makes women invincible, and she's encouraging mothers to prioritize their own well-being.
The First Lady made the remarks during a public appearance for a Mother's Day reception at the White House aimed at recognizing military moms. She reflected on the birth of her son, Barron, and noted the unimaginable, unpredictable concerns and trials that she's experienced in motherhood. The First Lady previously hosted similar Mother's Day events throughout her husband's first term in office. I'm Lisa Taylor.
524, did you see former President Biden? He was on The View yesterday. He says he still believes he would have defeated President Trump if he had stayed in the race for the White House. Talked about this with the ladies at the round table.
Yeah, he still got 7 million fewer votes.
Yes.
There you go. Okay? A lot of people didn't show up. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, they're very close in those toss-up states.
Biden went on to say, he says, in his opinion, Trump has had the worst 100 days of any president. The former president says he still speaks frequently with former Vice President Kamala Harris.
She's got a difficult decision to make about what she's going to do. Yeah. I hope she stays fully engaged. I think she's first rate.
And then, of course, he went on the attack against now President Trump.
Let me put it this way. He's had the worst 100 days any president's ever had.
Meanwhile, the former First Lady, Jill Biden, she was out there speaking as well. She says she didn't create a cocoon around the former president while he was in office.
While appearing on ABC's The View for the couple's first interview together since leaving the White House, she was asked about her husband's fitness for office during the 2024 presidential campaign. The former First Lady responded to the assertions by noting, I mean, you saw him in the Oval Office. You saw him making speeches. He wasn't hiding somewhere. I didn't have him, sequestered in some place. The interview comes as the former president has been slowly stepping back into the spotlight. I'm Lisa Taylor.
526, Netflix rolling out a redesign for its homepage on TV screens. The first big makeover since 2013. The Netflix CEO, Greg Peters, sat down to discuss some of the changes on the Today Show yesterday.
Really, at the end of the day, we're looking at what is the viewing behavior? Because that's the thing that matters the most. Are we satisfying viewers and are they watching?
Yeah, that homepage is a little overwhelming on Netflix, so I think this is a smart idea. Starting next week, the homepage will feature fewer titles, but more video. Company officials say the goal is a sleeker design that'll get more people to press play and then stay watching their content. 526, Bill Gates says he plans to give away virtually all of his money within 20 years and will shut down the Gates Foundation come 2045.
The Microsoft co-founder said people will say a lot of things about him when he dies, but he's determined that
he died rich won't be one of them. Gates said there are too many urgent problems to solve for him to hold on to resources that could be helpful. The Gates Foundation has given away over $100 billion since it was founded. The 70-year-old said he wants to speed up his foundation's work on equity initiatives and global health to hopefully set up a model for other billionaires to follow. I'm Monica Nelson.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Sponsored by Secure Cash, LLC. Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Friday, May 9th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. It's going to be just a washout of a day. At least that's what they're predicting. Rain on and off throughout this Friday. The high's only going to be 61, which is a little chilly for May, but the weekend, it looks good. Hold on. Saturday, sun and clouds, high 73, and then for the moms on Mother's Day, sunshine, high 77. If you are walking out the door with us right now, it is 53 and raining in West Haverstraw up in Rockland County. It's 56 and cloudy in Pennington over in New Jersey, and it's 58 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studio. WABC News Time 5:39 was in Philadelphia watching my sweet child Gabe graduate from college yesterday. We're out celebrating, of course, afterwards, and he looks up at me and he goes, "I think they just picked an American Pope." And I was like, "Oh, you got it wrong. There's no way." And then sure enough, we then watched the video. It was very exciting to see Pope Leo from Chicago, the new Pope in St. Peter's Square to celebrate. There was just tens of thousands of people there. That exciting moment where he walked out from behind the red velvet curtains. I thought the whole way it's orchestrated was very exciting. And then people in the crowd, of course, going nuts. And then back here in New York, of course, people are going, wait a minute. They were always told us there was no way an American could ever be Pope. But sure enough, Pope Leo, he's from Chicago originally, but at St. Patrick's Cathedral yesterday, everybody, of course, really excited about this.
The Pope is always, for us, it's like a rock star, right? So we're very happy.
It's a big cultural moment. I want to be here and experience as much of it as possible.
This is a special place, especially in America, to be at this cathedral.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought that's right. It was like a rock star because people went nuts when he came out. He didn't say a whole lot. He said, "Peace be with you." I'm sure we'll hear more from him in the coming days. Last night, the Empire State Building lit up gold and white in honor of Pope Leo.
This is insane. I was not expecting an American Pope at all, but that's fantastic. I'm surprised they came to a conclusion so quickly.
Yeah, it only took them 2 days. He went to Villanova, the Pope. So, hopefully that basketball team, maybe the Knicks too, with Jalen Brunson.
Bobby, you have to come to the class reunion. We'll have the biggest attendance of all time, or we'll go to Rome.
Yeah, right. They're waiting for a college reunion where he'll come back to Villanova. And, while we're talking about this, there was this great moment at Our Lady of Lourdes in Hamilton Heights. It's a Catholic school. The head of the school got onto the PA system to announce that the white smoke had been seen in Vatican City, and the kids went crazy.
From the United States of America!
Yeah, I mean, everybody was just as surprised, even the students, and they say, yeah, it's exciting that he's from the U.S.
We started running up the stairs because each of us wanted to get on our computers and watch it live. No one was expecting it was American, and when it was American, everyone's like, wow, very nice.
And what do these students expect in a new pope? Some of them are saying they think church attendance here in the U.S. could go up now that someone from the U.S. is pope.
He became a cardinal under Pope Francis, so I think that if Pope Francis thought that he was great, I think that he will be great as well.
And I hope that he follows after him.
I do see that the importance of going to church has been wavering in the youth.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was great yesterday. I mean, I watched it after it had taken place, but it was still just as exciting to watch even after it was over. All right, Do you want to see the Knicks this weekend? Well, you got to have a lot of cash. Ticket demand is so great for Saturday's Game 3 of the NBA playoff series between the Celtics. The Knicks are up 2-0. It's a best of 7. They just need 2 more to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. The resale on the aftermarket was around $2,000 when I looked at it last night. The average $1,956 for Game 3. Now, you can get cheaper tickets, but the good ones are just going for astronomical amounts of money. The cheapest ticket we could find for Game 3 as of last night was $626, and that was on StubHub. My guess is that price is a whole lot higher this morning. Meanwhile, the Knicks are promising us, hey, we've played 2 great games against a team that everybody thought we could not beat, and now we got the home court advantage.
It seems like it's changing, so I think just the way the game goes now, you can make up ground, I think, a lot quicker. That's
Coach Tom Thibodeau, who always has just got the sourpuss face on his, a scowl, but seems to be working. Jalen Brunson, of course, says we're locked in for these big moments, and we think we can win.
It's all about just focusing, having a clear mind, and just trying to win the game. That's just my mindset, and I wouldn't be that way without my teammates.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I can't wait for Saturday, that game at 3:30 at the Garden. 5:43. Just a god-awful story out of Lakewood, New Jersey. We keep getting more details, but it's just heartbreaking. These 2 parents now charged in the murder of their own 3-month-old daughter in a shocking crime that has left neighbors just shaking their head. These 2, the parents, Caitlin Gibson and Ruben Santiago, appeared in court yesterday for the first time since they were charged with murdering their infant daughter. The police got a 911 call from this couple's apartment in Lakewood on Monday that their child was unresponsive. The child died a short time later. An autopsy reveals the baby died from severe head injuries, including blunt force trauma that caused fracturing and bleeding near the brain. And neighbors say, come on, you have so many resources out there that you could hand off your child to just about anybody, maybe your parents, somebody else if you're having tough times.
A 3-month-old baby, that is nerve-wracking. A baby not knowing what to do in that moment to protect itself is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, can't get your head around it. Gibson Santiago charged with first-degree murder. My guess is, and not that this is any excuse, but we'll find out that there was some sort of drug or alcohol abuse here. Both parents said little during their court appearance yesterday, but their neighbors back in Lakewood said they found this all just terrible.
There's many, many places and many, many people in this world that wants a baby,
You're right.
wants a child, or wants to protect.
Yeah, just a heartbreaking story. In a moment, we're going to tell you about what's going on at Newark Airport today. You've been hearing from Joe that there's already cancellations. We'll get into how they're going to remedy all this in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. And here's Justin Alec.
Thank you, Noam Aladen. It was a quiet night last night in terms of local sports, but we'll look ahead to tonight and this weekend. Start on the Diamond in Queens. The Mets get set to open up a 3-game series against the visiting Chicago Cubs. Clay Holmes, he's 4-1 with a 2.95 ERA on the year. He'll get the start for a 7:10 p.m. first pitch. New York is 24-14 overall and 13-3 in home games. Mets hitters have a collective .420 slugging percentage to rank 7th in Major League Baseball. Tonight's game is the first time these teams match up this season. Pete Alonso has 13 doubles, a triple, 9 home runs, and 34 RBI for the Mets this year. And Juan Soto, he's hot as of late. 11 for his last 37 with 3 doubles, 4 home runs, and 5 RBI in his last 10 games. Out west in Sacramento, the Yankees will get their 3-game set for the weekend underway against the Athletics. Will Warren, he's 1-2 with a 5.65 ERA on the year. He'll start for the Yanks in what will be a 10:05 p.m. first pitch. New York is 21-16 overall and 8-8 on the road. The Yankees are 4-8 in games decided by 1 run this year. The matchup is the first this season between the A's and the Yanks. Aaron Judge leads the Yankees with 23 extra base hits, 9 doubles, 2 triples, and 12 home runs. And Trent Grisham, he's been hot all year, but his last 10 games, he's 10 for 34 with 4 home runs and 7 RBI. And we are very much so looking ahead to tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. You get tip-off for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between our New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics back here at home at the Garden. The Knicks now holding home court advantage in that series, up 2-0, looking to really take a commanding 3-0 lead tomorrow afternoon. That is your Sports Gnome, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:49. Newark Airport continues to experience flight delays, cancellations. You heard from Joe, over 50 already this morning. It's all due to ongoing staffing and technology challenges, but correspondent Tom Costello reports the situation appears to be improving just a tiny bit as the FAA works to upgrade the technology and hopefully train more air traffic controllers.
In addition, the DOT secretary today announcing a major plan to overhaul the entire air traffic control system nationwide. But that will cost billions of dollars, take 3 to 4 years, so that is not going to be a quick and easy fix.
Meanwhile, the FAA says a data outage was responsible for that 90-second radar blackout that happened back on April 28th that left air traffic controllers at Newark with dark screens, no communications with pilots. You can imagine how frightening that moment was. Costello reports one carrier at the airport is, well, among many, calling for action.
United Airlines is very concerned about what's happening here at Newark. Specifically, it wants the FAA to regulate how many takeoff and landing slots are allowed at this airport. United makes the point there are far too many planes coming in and out, and this airport simply is beyond capacity.
And of course, for United, that's their main central hub is Newark Airport. 550, the tour helicopter that crashed into the Hudson back on April 10th fell apart mid-air. That according to a preliminary report from the federal agency investigating.
The National Transportation Safety Board report says witnesses heard several loud bangs before the helicopter literally fell apart. Photos show the New York Helicopters Tour's Bell helicopter in 3 pieces in the air, the fuselage with engine, the main rotor system, and the tail boom. The report does not say what caused the chopper to break up. An executive with the German conglomerate Siemens, his wife, their 3 children, and the pilot were all killed. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
You know, we're just 6 days away from a possible New Jersey Transit engineers strike. This is frightening as this strike deadline keeps approaching. It's next Thursday, which is May 16th, stroke of midnight. The engineers say they'll walk out. This is all over money. New Jersey Transit CEO says the agency offered the union what it wanted back in March. He showed an email from union leadership applauding the deal, and then he said members walked away from that deal. Here he explains what took place back in March and why he thinks this could have been done a long time ago.
The wage rate that we offered was $49.82. Long Island Railroad locomotive engineers, the gold standard that the union said that they want to have parity with, makes $49.92.
Now, a union official says New Jersey Transit's numbers are misleading, but did not share a specific amount of what they're asking for.
The number he's talking about, the $49 an hour, for us would be in 2027. And for the Long Island Railroad, who are also without an agreement, that's from, I believe, 2022. Preparing for a possible work stoppage that could take the form of a strike. We could also be locked out. New Jersey Transit could also impose the terms of their last offer upon us.
New Jersey Transit tells riders to prepare to work from home if possible in the event of that strike. They will have bus service that'll be enhanced. Amtrak, Path, light rail, ferry service would all remain available, but they only think they can accommodate about 20% of the riders on trains. It's about 350,000 people who take New Jersey Transit every single day.
I really rely on the trains going into the city.
The taxpayers need to be considered, but so the people working for the transit need a fair living wage.
Union leadership will go to New Jersey Transit headquarters today to roll out a plan as lawmakers in the agency prepare for the possibility of trains coming to a screeching halt. Now, the CEO of New Jersey Transit says he will negotiate to the last final second.
I still have faith that we can get to a deal between now and next Thursday.
Let's hope they do. Of course, if they don't, keep it right here on Thursday morning, 77 WABC. Joe, everybody will get you through this if it does take place. Let's keep our fingers crossed they can come up with a deal before next Thursday. The Department of Justice investigating New York Attorney General Letitia James.
According to multiple reports, the FBI has opened a criminal probe into allegations of mortgage fraud against the AG. This comes after the Federal Housing Finance Agency requested that the DOJ investigate James last month. James has been part of several multi-state lawsuits against both Trump administrations. Last year, she won a judgment against Trump after successfully suing him for falsifying business records. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Let's go out to Long Island. 554, a Florida man accused of leading police on just what was a wild trace through a number of Long Island communities yesterday. Police say the damage he caused includes a broken fence, smashed children toys, tire marks on several roads. Lots of people saw these cars flying by.
He came and he broke everything there.
I'm very surprised nobody got hit because there's a lot of people that walk their children out in the street.
Yeah, thank God nobody hurt. Vito DeLeo was pulled over for a traffic violation. That was in Lindenhurst about 7:42 p.m. When the officer walked back to his car, DeLeo sped off, and that's when this chase began. He had two hit-and-run crashes along the way.
I just heard a car coming down the street here real fast with a police car following it with its lights on.
Yeah, so he ditched his car in West Babylon, but police eventually caught up with him on Old Farmingdale Road, about a half mile away. You might not be shocked to hear he was under the influence of drugs and alcohol. WABC News Time 5:55. Mayor Adams' administration highlighting an amendment in the state budget agreement that gives the city now more tools to help the mentally ill and get them off city streets.
And although it is rare, random attacks are still committed by people who desperately need help. We cannot continue to ignore them, and we are not.
Yeah, so Adams says this amendment now clarifies the inability to meet basic needs as defined as a form of danger to a self. So that means the city homeless outreach teams will be able to remove more people off the streets and get them help, which I think at the end of the day is great. That serial cell phone snatcher still on the run in the Bronx. We told you about this guy back in April. He comes up to people as they walk the streets with their cell phone to their ear on a moped and then snatches it. Well, he's still out there, and it's more than a dozen times because they know most people don't even report this to the cops.
A lot of that goes on in Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. You know, crime is pretty rampant at this moment.
But these guys on these things, they come from all over the place.
Now, there is video of this guy. We'll post it at WABCRadio.com.
I always walk with my phone in my bag and all that.
Yeah. So the bad news is he's still out there. The good news is he hasn't hurt anybody. He's just grabbed their cell phones and keeps on driving. And we'll end with this story. Bert Jablon is not a guy who likes to sit around. He's 98 years old. He's from Syosset out on Long Island, and he's a fitness enthusiast. And this weekend he's going to compete in a 5K at 98 years old.
I exercise 7 days a week. I start in the back of the pack, and I don't care how long it takes for me to get done, but I get done.
By the way, he gets a pretty good time. He beats other people in the race, and he's excited that he's still out there running, and he encourages others, even people who've never run in their life, to just start. Doesn't matter how long it takes you.
It's a democratic sport with a small d, and you meet people from all levels of life.
Yeah, he sounds great at 98. Good luck to him this weekend.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?